You're listening to the Audiofemme Podcast.
I'm Marianne, and I am the founder of Audiofemme, and I'm also an accountant. If you know, you know.
I'm Mandy. I'm the co-director of Audiofemme and the managing editor of CREEM, America's only rock and roll magazine.
We are here to bring you the hottest of hot takes on all things girlies, gays, and theys.
We've got sex, we've got music, we've got pop culture, we've got some witchy shit thrown in there.
Don't come into our space and project onto us what you want us to be and what makes you comfortable. We don't exist to make you feel good.
The people are wondering, are we just Nepo babies? Where does the Audiofemme money come from?
My professional background is, just surviving in New York.
Every corporation in America sent out a Juneteenth. These are unprecedented times email in 2020, but most of them are not anymore. And that guy's mouth breathing in his mom's basement.
The whole situation had me feeling as if I couldn't do anything in the world. I couldn't make anything of myself and I didn't have a voice. I certainly didn't have anything to say that was worth listening to. And so I kind of took Audiofemme to a next level because I had something to fucking prove to a male, which is ironic because it's a feminist platform and over time became so much about centering non-male voices.
Let's start at the beginning. What is Audiofemme? I guess what was the vision for it initially and versus where it is now? And is this ever where you kind of imagined it would go?
Yeah. I mean, again, to kind of bring that chariot analogy in, no, it's not. But here we are. Where we started and where we are feels like the gap feels like an entire lifetime, which is great. That's what we want because we should all be able to change and adapt. Who I am now versus who I was 12 years ago when this started are worlds of difference. So is a world of difference. And the company has kind of reflected that journey all along, I would say. The changing tides of what Audiofemme is definitely reflects my own changing tides. So we started it in 2012. It was just basically a music blog on Blogspot, which is a now.
Oh my God, Blogspot.
RIP. I don't know where it is.
way back in the Wayback Machine is where Blogspot is. That Wayback Machine.
Get in your time machine and go back to the early days of online blogging, and you will find a company called Blogspot, which was just WordPress, but dumber, I think. So my very good friend Lindsay Rhodes, who I was waitressing with, and I were just really into music journalism. We were going to shows every night, and we were fuck working for these companies where everything is male dominated and you're kind of controlled by a very misogynistic oeuvre, I would say. You're not, there was just little freedom in what I felt I could creatively express whilst working in that milieu, but branching. Yeah. So we decided to kind of branch out and do our own thing. And it was really just a creative outlet. That was kind of it. It didn't have audience. We didn't really have any goals with it other than to get free tickets to shows. It was we were just broke and wanted to go to shows every night, and we're oh, if we write about them, they'll just let us go for free. So that was kind of where it started. And then it kind of took a pivot around 2013, ironically due to a really bad breakup that I went through. My ex was quite abusive and made me I don't know how to like say this without being like demeaning of my own power in that moment. But like the whole situation had me feeling as if I couldn't do anything in the world. Like I couldn't make anything of myself and I didn't have a voice. And I certainly didn't have anything to say that was worth listening to. And so I kind of like took Audiofemme to a next level because I had something to fucking prove to a male, which is ironic because it's it's a feminist platform and over time became so much about centering non-male voices and centering marginalized voices and centering like BIPOC, queer, and femme people. Like that became a central part of my passion with it, even though it started out as basically just fucking ego, like wanting to prove something to my shitty ex. So after like the trauma of all of that, you know, it was like Saturn return. It was a lot. After the trauma of all of that kind of subsided, it really started to grow and bloom into what it is now, like kind of the vision that it encompasses now, which is just a very diverse platform where we like create culture at the intersection of politics and feminism and sex and music and art and life, and kind of go with the flow. We have many different programs that we run that are really cool. We have an artist grant program. We have an abortion access fundraiser. We still do a ton with the music community. We do live shows at South by Southwest. We have like artist grant showcases that we do, like trying to do year round. It's a lot of fucking work though. Producing music shows is so much work. So yeah, I would say it's just living and breathing, and it kind of has a life of its own at this point. It's Audiofemme.
I like that you sort of framed it that way, that there's like this like freedom inherent to it, because I don't know, I've been working with Marianne on Audiofemme since like 2018 upon quitting a job where I was not valued by my male colleagues and I was abused and used in different ways, you know, the ways that we are at work versus in our personal relationships. Um, and what I've always kind of appreciated about working with Marianne on Audiofemme stuff is that it's very much like, I feel like something that needs to be said more frequently in the music industry that isn't said enough is like, yo, it's not fucking brain surgery. Like if it doesn't go according to plan and we don't get it all done on time, on budget, like no one's gonna die. Like it's like, it's fine, you know? And I feel like every job I've ever had in music, it's like almost 15 years of my life, like half of my life at this point. I've had to like remind myself and my colleagues of that. And like, I feel like at Audiofemme, it's very much like, yeah, we're three people working on this with not the most time. We all have other things going on, but we're very realistic about that. And we don't beat ourselves up over it. And it's kind of like, it's not something that's worth making yourself crazy or miserable or like overly burning the candle at both ends on. And I kind of like wonder, I guess, like I was gonna ask, like, why did you create Audiofemme? But I wonder if like your experience of feeling controlled or like you couldn't do what you wanted to do informed your philosophy of how you run your business.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like, I don't want to live like that, let alone like create a company ethos that reflects that energy. Like it deeply reflects the energy that I like inhabit in my daily life. So I'm like, I'm not gonna like get overly stressed about this shit because that's not how I want to live. And so the whole flow of what we do is a deep reflection of that for sure. Anytime anyone needs like a break or a breather or like just is stressed about anything, I'm like, it's not worth it. You know, like there are definitely moments, like we have moments, like I said, with live show production, it can be really, really difficult because you're dealing with so many people and you're dealing with conflicting egos, and everyone takes themselves so seriously, like you said, especially in this industry. There's a lot of people who do want to project that life or death urgency onto you, and I'm like, no, just no.
Just now.
Just no. Like, we're not
I
gonna
see what you're giving me right now, and I'm not taking it. Like,
yeah, like return to sender. Exactly. It's supposed to be about creating a community that we want to exist in, that we want to thrive in. So why would we bring stress and, negative mental energy into that?
so much of it comes from just like the economics of independent music. And then like we do the grant and stuff, and a lot of people are probably wondering, especially because like I feel like in the music business, it's like prime,
Yeah.
like nepo baby central,
Yeah.
especially in like New York City, where it's like,
Yeah.
I put on DIY shows and I'm super edgy, but my dad works at like JP Morgan and lives in Greenwich, Connecticut. So like
Right.
I don't have to have a job,
Yeah.
like I have a trust fund and I can just fuck off and like do shows in Bushwick, you know what I mean? And that is not what Audiofemme is. So what the people are wondering, are we just nepo babies? Like, where does the Audiofemme money come from?
I mean, sometimes we wish we were nepo babies.
I mean, obviously, like justice for nepo babies. I wish I was
I am not a trust fund baby. I am not independently wealthy. No. But I am a very talented accountant.
Yeah, so what do you do? Oh, I'm an accountant. Oh my gosh, no way. That's so cool. Yeah. What do you do? Oh, I'm actually an accountant too. Oh my gosh, no way. Yeah. I love it so much. Yeah, so many numbers. Are you on OnlyFans? Yes, I'm on OnlyFans. Are you? Yes, bitch.
You guys were really good at crunching numbers.
cooking the books
Books.
without getting too deep into the weeds of the tax laws.
Mhm.
About your work is it's very dry.
It's,
You know,
it's a lot. Well,
we don't want
there's a-
everyone's eyes to just glaze over listening to you talk about tax law. So like tell us more about being an accountant and like what your clients are like, and like
Yes.
how that what the philosophy is by funding Audiofemme through your accounting labor.
Yes. Very, very good question, Mandy. So my clientele consists pretty much exclusively of old, rich white men. And a lot of whom are either insufferable or like on a scale of 1 to insufferable, they're like a 7. So it's kind of like my personal way of fucking the patriarchy by taking their money and like giving it to POC artists to make work, like to just like do art, to like taking their money and like giving it to an abortion fundraiser, knowing that they're like violently pro-life a lot of the time, or like violently misogynist, racist, Republican a lot of the time.
Yeah, they're pro-life until their accountant should fall pregnant.
Clock it. You waited till we left. Clock it. Snuck in here. Clock it. Went through our stuff. Clock it. Stole the phone. Clock it. Down.
You know what I mean? If you catch my drift.
Exactly. I've got receipts. Receipts.
But go on. Sorry, I couldn't resist
Yeah,
the punchline.
So there is a little bit, I think that's like part of the punk rock aspect of what we do, is very much subverting the dominant paradigm and like harnessing that energy to help the people that these men fucking loathe. Like, I love that. Like, what is more punk rock than that?
Do any of them like I know, do any of them like know about like what you do with, do you like tell them about this or like
Here and there, like only the ones that actually actively support it. And this is, so I don't mean to generalize about all of my accounting clients. Like some of them are really wonderful people who are very dear friends at this point and who support this and even come out to some of our events here and there.
and donate to my sad car GoFundMe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yes.
Not all clients, not all accounting clients.
Yeah, exactly.
Hashtag.
Hashtag.
Yeah. But some of them do know, like, and do you
Yes.
do it? Do you tell them in kind of like a I'm sticking it to you kind of way, or like trying to get a rise out of them, or like...
No. I tend not to fan those flames because it's not really worth it. Like I found as I've gotten older that it's a waste of energy to like kind of engage in antagonism on that level. It's just kind of always a running narrative in my mind that this is where their money's going. And I love it. It gives
I
me
think
like,
that
yeah,
I think that
absolutely
that's
gives me
very
life.
I think that's very mature, and I think that a lot of us is something that I have learned. Like obviously I'm not dealing with uh these types of people in my work on a regular basis, but like, you know, I have like a lot of us have like family that like
Yeah,
doesn't see eye to eye on us. And I feel like once upon a time I got like a lot of like sick pleasure out of like fanning those flames and like trying to get a rise out of people and
yeah,
change their minds, and
yeah,
going about it completely in the wrong way, and also just like realizing that you're probably not going to be able to change their minds and it's just
yeah,
causing you suffering, and a use of your energy
yeah,
to be trying to
yeah,
do that, whereas where you could just accept them for who they are and then do what you can
yeah,
to affect change.
yeah. And there's very few of these people who, in the winter of their discontent, um, will actually fucking change, you know?
The winter of their discontent. Wow. Can that be like the name of the episode?
I'm calling you guys old.
I
That's
guess
why.
it's summer over here, so I don't know if that would be terribly appropriate. Um
Yeah, no, these old men are not going to change. So it's like kind of futile. It's an exercise in futility to try to like win them over to, you know, our side of the table. But I can certainly take their money and give it to people who are sitting on our side of the table.
And that
Uh,
must be deeply satisfying, you
yeah.
know, because they just can't resist the urge to hire you for your accounting services. That you're like kind of just like, you know what I mean? Like you're
Yeah.
what is it? Like I don't want to say taking advantage, but capitalizing on their inability, their lack of self-control or whatever it might
Exactly.
be. You know what I mean? Their base human instincts to crunch the numbers and cook the books.
My professional background is, um, you know, like New York, just like surviving in New York. Like, I don't have a CV that will really impress you that much. My college degree was international relations. I came up here for a job, kind of working in that field, left that very soon after, not wanting to. I just like, you know, mid-20s existential crisis, and decided I just wanted to like be in New York. Worked in the service industry, uh, was a freelance writer, worked at a magazine, for a long time, a print magazine. Um, and then just started Audiofemme, and here we are. And then I met Mandy and the whole world changed.
Yeah, I'm always wondering if I'm gonna like ever put these folks that I was working with when I met Annie like fully on blast. But basically, yeah, I had met Annie because I had just moved to New York like maybe like a year and a half before I met Annie. And I got a job doing concert marketing for like a small independent promoter in Bushwick. I was making $25,000 a year, which is comical, in like the worst way. My rent was $1,000 a month and I was making $25,000 a year. Like
For working full time, like more than
working full time. Yeah. So I had met
What year was
Annie
this?
because this was 2014 into 2015. I think Annie and I met in 2015. It was pre-Trump. I like met Annie because I had like my performance review for my first year at my job, being like new in New York and like had this role doing concert marketing. And they're basically like, you're doing a great job. Like you're super organized and on it, which is very important when you're doing any kind of marketing job. But you need to make some friends because like you're not going to be able to succeed at this job until you are more cemented in the scene in New York and you have your own content. Like I was doing fine, like promoting shows using like their contacts of people that like they were kind of introducing me to or like already had existing relationships with. But they were basically like, if you're going to continue to grow, you need to develop your own relationships. So I like emailed with people all like I kind of how I started doing that honestly was like because I was so paid so little. I worked the door at like every music venue in Brooklyn, basically, and like some in Manhattan.
Yeah.
And I would scour the guest list at the beginning of the night, and I would try and like identify the people that I had like an email relationship with, like that knew me as like Mandy from Redacted Company. And when they would come to get their tickets, I'd be like, hey, like I'm Mandy, like we email all the time. And they'd always be like, oh my God, it's so great to meet you. Like people always love to meet somebody that they email with in real life, unless like that person is insufferable over email. And then I guess they don't. But I also started inviting different people that I had like positive email relationships with out to shows. Cause like as Annie said, part of the reason that we do this, pretty much one of the only reasons to do this is that you can go to concerts for free. So Annie and I started going to shows together a couple times a month. And then I think like the night that like cemented it all was I was seeing this therapist at the time that was like right around the corner from where Annie was living. And I had plans to go like hang out with her after my therapy appointment. And I guess it was like kind of an intense therapy session. And I was like very upset and emotional when I arrived at Annie's house. And we drank a whole bottle of Espolòn tequila. like without even like realizing it. Like Annie's partner Blair came home from his serving job or his bartending, whatever he was doing.
He was like,
and he was like, did you guys drink this whole bottle of tequila? And we were like, did we? Like
he was like, what is wrong with you?
So I went home and then I like had to go to work the next day at Redacted Company and I was like still drunk and had to like announce a bunch of shows. But anyway, fast forward a couple of months and I finally had enough of these people. I had found out that they basically like I was like, I am doing too much marketing. Like I can't do this by myself. I need you to like hire someone to help me or to work with me and collaborate with me on the marketing for all of the shows that we do. And instead of promoting me and like hiring someone to be my subordinate, they hired someone to be my boss. And I had to train him and all of the systems that I had built over the years that I had been working there. And he was being paid 50% more money than I was, which and also he didn't have to pay rent because his wife was rich and owned their apartment, which like that doesn't mean that he deserves to be paid less or anything. Like I don't think that your employer should get to take into consideration your life circumstances when determining what to pay you, but it just made it so much more annoying because he went on vacation all the time.
Like it adds to the injustice of it all.
So I like this happened and I like met up with Annie that weekend to be like, what should I do? And she was like, you got to quit that job and you can work for me. Like I will let go of whoever it was that was running the social media at the time. And she's like, you will do it. And that was kind of the beginning of the saga. And here we are.
I was just like, we'll figure it out. I was like, you just have to leave. Like you should quit tomorrow. Like tell them like schedule a meeting, like resign, and then we will just fucking figure it out. But you're not working there anymore. It was like, I just can't. Like,
So
I mean,
that's kind of how it all started. And then the
shocking.
company has, um, it's transformed a lot in that time. And I guess that's kind of a good place to take it next, is like, what is like the difference in the vision of AudioFemme in the pre-Mandy era
Yeah,
and the post-Mandy era? Because
yeah,
I've been here for like half the time, I guess,
yeah.
is a good way to
Right,
think
right,
about it.
right. Well, in the pre-Mandy era, like the PM era,
Well, they're both PM.
I know. Uh, right. AM, PM, and AM after Mandy. It was still largely just a music publication website. So publishing reviews, and kind of managing a stable of writers, who were freelancing for us. And once you came on, I would say the marketing got obviously so much better, but like so much more directed and streamlined, and like it started taking on I wouldn't say a new voice, but a voice that was always there but had been kind of buried because I didn't know how to really like hone it and market it well. So I think once you came on board, it just started naturally, organically evolving, to like be a brand. I think before that we didn't really have like a brand identity, you know. And then once like we kind of started establishing a brand identity, there were all of these opportunities that not necessarily like fell into our lap, but just kind of became available, that were aligned with this nascent kind of vision we were developing of what we actually are. And so that in turn, like over the years, led to bigger and bigger productions, bigger initiatives. There was a lot of like seminal social events that happened as well, like fucking Trump getting elected and global pandemic and that kind of helped spur those. But yeah, I think until you got there, I I didn't have much of a direction for it.
It allowed me the space to grow as a professional and a personality in the world as well, because like oftentimes in previous roles that I've had, I felt like I had to give everything of myself. Like when you're a creative person, it's like there's only so much juice, there's only so much gas in the tank that you can expend. And working in a marketing role like requires a lot of creativity. Like I often say that like the reason that like journalism is in the crisis that it's in is because a lot of people that would be really great journalists are doing PR,
Yeah. Yeah.
because that is where there's money and there's jobs. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like the world would be in a much better place if there were more journalists and fewer publicists, and most of those people share a skill set. But
Shit.
um, yeah. Um,
I totally agree.
it sort of allowed me the space to develop a brand and a voice of my own. Like in the years that like AudioFemme allowed me the space to like write a novel and like self-publish it and promote it and put it out in the world. And I like certainly wouldn't have my role now as like the editor of CREEM magazine if like I hadn't been writing for AudioFemme since 2017 and like
Yeah.
wrote this book that like increased my public profile even like marginally in a very niche community. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
and that in turn allowed the brand to grow because like as a representative of the brand, my like personal brand
Yeah.
was able to grow.
Absolutely. And like I was super happy to give you kind of carte blanche with it because like you are by far one of the best music writers you and Lindsay and like a handful of like my professional icons in music writing. Like, I mean, like everything that you write is just exceptionally good. So when it comes to like letting you, when I'm just like, you can publish whatever you want on the site, like, do it.
You know what that says a lot about for you is that you are not threatened by other women, because I have worked under female editors that were also like my peers in like age and station kind of, and they like edited me in like a mean way.
Yeah.
Like, they were just like so hard on the work. Like they would never just let me say whatever I wanted because it like threatened them, like literally, I think. Because I feel like, especially in the types of roles that we inhabit, in any role that is like women competing, it's like they only think that they have to be the best. They have to be the smartest person in the room. They have to be the best writer in the room. No one can be as good as them because
Yeah.
there's not enough room for everybody. And that was never the case at Audiofemme.
There's room for all of us at the table. Like the scarcity mindset is what then perpetuates scarcity in and of itself. Story follows suit and vice versa. Like when you create that environment, then you are working from scarcity, and so there is a sense of lack, and so there is like this hyper toxic sense of competition around who gets what kind of spot in the light. And it's just, that's never made any sense to me.
There's something to be said for what like Audiofemme is in general, because there are no other, like, it's so hard to even like put like a name. Like I don't even know like what to call Audiofemme when I like explain it to other people. Like I'm like, oh, I put events on and like do things with my friend Annie, like, and we do it and it's Audiofemme. Like that's like, I'm like, I don't know, like what is it? But that's like that goes to show there's like nothing else like really in the way of like party planners, concert promoters, media platforms, like whatever we are, like the conversation that we endeavor to have, there is no one else having that conversation. So I'm kind of just like wondering where you like landed on this. Like we say, like we're creating culture at the intersection of music, feminism, sex, and politics. And like, how did we arrive there? And like, what does that even really mean? And you know, and like I would say like that created opportunities for us, because I guarantee the only reason that South by keeps inviting us to come back is because they can't find another women-led organization that does what we do, and they have to check that box, you know.
Yeah, and we put on really good shows.
I mean, we put on really great events, but I feel like initially we got that opportunity because they were like, "Oh, we need this," you know, like.
No, we're cool girls. We're very like, I like to think that we're cool. I think that we're really cool. It's really fucking cool. And I guess to kind of get at your question, like that story was always kind of there. We just needed the container for it. Like we've always been this at our core. It just took a while to kind of define the parameters and like give it, like, to really name the baby. Sometimes naming the baby just takes time.
Oh my God, tell me about it. We like just named, we have this cat at my house for like a month, and we keep changing her name every like couple of days. We like don't know what to call her. Right now she's Frances.
I love that.
Yeah, Frances and Luca. What an iconic name, a more iconic duo than that. Like
your inner Catholic is coming out with your cat.
Oh my God, I know. Oh my God, right. You can't just let it go. It's very insidious. You've been on this like epic journey of like, now what year is it? 2024. It's been 12 years.
12 years.
And the company has changed so much, and its goals and vision have changed so much, and you've been self-funding it all of this time, which I feel like it's important to note that like you like walk the walk, you know. I feel like so many corporations in the last few years of unprecedented times, like, which is like the buzzword that corporations and brands love to use when they send you emails when things are going badly in the world. a lot of people had a commitment to doing the kind of work that you do, which is to say like the redistribution of wealth to more marginalized folks to support their visions and
Yeah.
goals and ideas. You know what I mean? Like that was something that was very in vogue a couple of years ago and has since become in some ways bad business because like there's always like a what is the word? A reaction. You've been self-funding this for so long
Yes.
with your prolific accounting work. And it's like not sustainable. And I'm kind of like wondering like where you like hope to take things or like hope
Yeah.
where would be like because obviously anybody listening to this probably appreciates the work that we do. And obviously we appreciate them as well for like sticking with us and being interested in what we have to say and what we have to do. But like, what is the future? Like in a more sustainable way, in like an ideal world?
Yeah, I mean, I think like ideally we would love to have support outside of my own self-funding. Like that is like a main goal for this year is to kind of hone in on that. Like how we would do that is still kind of being developed. I'm not, I'm not like a business development person. But I'm certainly talking to a lot of business development people and getting some ideas for how we can really make this sustainable. Because the programs that we have running right now are really amazing and like I just love that we've created this, like all of us together, like including our community, we've like co-created like these amazing platforms for art to thrive. Especially art being made by I don't like using the word marginalized people because they're not marginal. These are people of the fucking global majority, like
That's a good take. I'm interested.
like
I appreciate that.
white women like act like we're the only fucking voices in the room. And I'm like, we're actually like really not the majority on this planet, like at all. It's just that these are folks who don't have access, are intentionally gatekept from resources that are essential to survival in a lot of ways. So yeah, like I just love how dynamic these programs are and how much they help create the kind of community that we want to thrive in and that we want to exist in. And so it's both a challenge and a part of the future planning that we're self-funded, but we shall see. Maybe this podcast is just gonna like blow up
And be like, can we like put ads on this podcast? Like some giant corporation with tons of money. We're here. I'll do your spawn con.
I'm like, I would never take money from McDonald's.
Well, anyone, I'm like, please hit us up. I'll do your spawn con. I would, nothing would make me happier, more full of joy to read your ad copy. And I'll even zhuzh it up for you and make it less boring.
These are 3 comments that I pulled from our comment section throughout our reels, our past posts in the last 3 months. We've leaned more politically and feminist waving within the past few months. And our audience isn't too happy about that. So with that, I want to have you guys react to 3 hate comments that have been left by 4 more followers of us. The first one we have is quote unquote disgusting hat, which was in response to our "this hat paid for an abortion" baseball cap that we are selling online at www.com at our www.audiofemme.com to raise money for abortion access.
Fuck them. I want you to find the hat disgusting.
Yeah, no, I'm like, the hat is not for him. I was like more put off by, I don't know, the whole thing. Like,
I'm like, I want you to be disgusted by us. Good.
Yeah, it's like take what you want and leave the rest. Like
disgusted by the shit that we put out.
Yeah, no, I couldn't care less with that. Like, I don't know, with that guy's like mouth breathing in his mom's basement. Like, fuck that person. Like, mouth breathing is a stank, dusty breath.
Bro, I thought this is an account about women in music in response to our If I'm on the Street video, is it the Lulu to marry someone with a 20 plus year age gap?
I mean, again, like, we don't exist for you. Like, we're not, like, whatever you think our account is about isn't, like, is neither here nor there, because we don't cater to you at all.
And also, people can contain multitudes. Like women in music, that is one facet of your personality. Like women in music ostensibly like date and have relationships and like are trying to find a life partner. So it is
Yeah.
all relevant. Like it's not like don't put me in a box.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. And like, and like women in music are also just women in the world talking about
exactly.
age gaps. Like we've all had one. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck that guy too.
It is upsetting to see that a music blog that I once loved and respected resorts to posting things like this. Unfollowing. A response to a Femme on the Street video at a Palestine protest, which is now deleted.
This one kind of hit me because, well, first of all,
Wait, she deleted the comment?
She did delete the comment.
Wow.
She reneged. She reneged.
Like, girl, bye. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Like, first of all, free Palestine. Like, that is where we stand, period. Like, if there is any questions about where we stand on this, like, it's like we are not free until all of us are fucking free. So this like pissed me off again, because I'm like, don't come into our space and like project onto us what you want us to be and what makes you comfortable. Like, we don't exist to make you feel good. Like, and if something causes you discomfort, like maybe you have some fucking work to do. Like maybe you have some shadow work to do. If a random Instagram post on Audiofemme brings you this much discomfort, like maybe you got to look inside yourself, girl. And like, if you think that music and politics do not intersect, and that like music and liberation do not intersect, then you probably have really shitty taste in music. That's all I'll say. Like, I don't want you as a follower.
I'll say this. If anybody still feels this way, what is this, month 10 of this situation? This is like we're almost a year in at this point to this war. If you still feel this way and are both siding it this far into it, you are severely like delusional. Like at what point do we say like how many Palestinian lives is the life of one Israeli person worth to these people?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like that's basically like why is it that like you I don't know. I like read I still read the New York Times. I know we're all like butthurt about rightfully about their terrible coverage of the situation. And I read the comments and it's always like some like rabid pro IDF like I'm imagining like bots or like people that they hired to go in there and like post these types of comments. What about the hostages? Well, like, what about the hostages? Like, should we do like the proportionality of 37,000 Palestinians to 120 Israelis? What is the proportionality here? So that's like the first bit of it. And B, I'm totally on the same page with you about like, if you don't think that music and politics are interrelated, then you're also fucking delusional. Because I don't know, I think back to, remember a couple months ago when that kid self-immolated himself in front of the Israeli embassy in DC. All I could think about, and I feel like I read this take on Twitter or something, and I'm kind of just like taking it as my own. Like, if it is appalling to me, and it like it's like fucking class warfare at this point, that this nobody 25-year-old had to resort to doing that to get any kind of attention on this, where if Taylor Swift just whispered the words free Palestine, there would be a fucking riot outside the White House right now. But she's not going to do that.
That's a good point. And this follower of ours who disrespects us for resorting to posting things like this would probably be on board.
Yeah, exactly. It's like during the Vietnam War, like you saw musicians constantly railing against the war in Vietnam and making statements about it, but I feel like it's like a handful of artists are doing the same for the situation, because it is like so toxic to make that stand on like a large scale because of people like this woman posting comments like this on her Instagram. Just delusional people.
Yeah, girl, bye. Thanks for tuning into the Audiofemme podcast. Make sure to follow the podcast on your preferred streaming platform, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and follow us on Instagram at Audiofemme.
You can hopefully listen to more episodes of this podcast every month exclusively on Patreon. We'll do our best to be consistent with it, but I hope you also all remember that we have other things going on. We do our best. So please be patient and gentle with us while we figure out what we're doing here. We want to bring you lots of like fun new content. We're still kind of like figuring out what that looks like, but expect like more Q&A type of stuff with the artists that we love, more advice from Annie, more tarot readings, more stuff like that, more spicy takes. But yeah, we're excited for you to come on this journey with us. And we appreciate your patience. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.